Hello everybody and welcome to Go Math with Ms. Janke. Today we are studying Module 4, Lesson 2, Dividing Fractions. Our essential question, how can you divide fractions? There's two methods that we're going to be looking at today, and that is the algorithm method and also the modeling method. We are going to start with a vocabulary word, and that vocabulary word is reciprocal. Reciprocal, two numbers whose product is 1. And when you hear this word, I want you to think of flip. Okay, flip. When you hear the word reciprocal, I want you to think flip. Here's an example. Write the reciprocal of 7/8. Well, if we flip 7/8, that would give us 8/7. What about 1/9? If we flipped 1/9, we would have 9/1. 9/1, there we go. What if we just had the whole number 10? Well, first I want you to think when we learned back about whole numbers and fractions. So when we have a whole number, it's actually floating over 1. So we can put it over 1 there, and then its reciprocal will become 1/10. All right, we are going to do a division problem here with a fraction, and we're going to write down our steps for how we divide it. So here's our division problem. We have 4/3 divided by 5/3. All right, let's write down the steps, and it is very important that you get each step written down. This is a great time to take out your colored pens and use your color coding skills. Step 1. We are going to flip, so we're going to take the reciprocal of the second fraction in the problem. So the second fraction in the problem is 5/3. Let's write that down. Okay, and let me show step 1. 4/3. Okay, and you can draw your arrow to show step 1. We flipped the second fraction in the problem. Now let's look at step 2. In step 2, you're going to change the operation from division into multiplication. Remember, operation is another word for the sign. Okay, let's show how we did that. We have 4/3. We're changing the sign to multiplication. And then from step 1, we now have our reciprocal 3/5. And again, you can draw arrows to help show where you did each step. And I changed to multiplication. Step 3, I'm multiplying straight across. Okay, so I have 4/3 times 3/5, and I'm multiplying across. So 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. So I have 12/15. Step 4 is reduce. And remember, reduce is another word for simplify, so I'm going to put that word as well. So we're going to simplify 12/15. Well, we can reduce it down by 3. So 3 goes into 12 4 times, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. So therefore our answer is 4 over 5. Okay, make sure you have these steps written down. They will help you out so much. Let's do some practice problems using the reciprocal algorithm method. Let's try 8 divided by 2/3, 7 over 16 divided by 3 over 8, and 4 over 15 divided by 2 over 5. Remember, go back to your previous page if you need to look at your notes for it. That's what they're there for. Our first problem, we have a whole number 8, so first thing we do is we need to put it over 1 to get it into a fraction. And let's do our steps. 8 over 1, we're going to flip our second number and change to multiplication. Now we multiply straight across. 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3. Now we call this an improper fraction, but if we wanted to convert to a mixed number, which would put it in simplest form, we would say, how many times does 3 go into 16? 5. And we're left with remaining 1 over 3. We always keep our denominator the same. Let's check the next problem. 7 over 16. We're going to reciprocal this and change it to 8 over 3. Change the sign to multiplication. Now, what we can recognize here is that we can cross cancel, and you may be recognizing this from previous grades when you discussed cross canceling. So looking diagonally, we have two numbers here, 16 and 8, that can be reduced down before we continue to the next step. Well, 8 goes into 8 one time. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 16 divided by 8 gives us 2, so we can change that to a 2. So our new problem is 7 over 2 times 1 over 3. Much easier to multiply those numbers across. 7 times 1 is 7. 3 times 2 is 6. Convert it to a mixed number, 1 and 1/6. Remember, this is an improper fraction, 7 over 6. And our 1 and 1/6 is a mixed number. Our last problem, 4 over 15 divided by 2/5. Here we go with our method. 4 over 15, reciprocal the second number, 5 over 2, and change the sign to multiplication. Is there anything that we could cross cancel here? Well, looks like we could cross cancel a lot. We've got 5 and 15. 5 goes into 15 3 times. What about 2 and 4? 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 4 one time. Look at how easy our new problem is. 1 over 3 times 1 over 1. Well, 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 1 is 3. So therefore, our answer is 1/3. Okay, next we're going to look at our modeling method. We're still continuing on with 4.2. And the method we're discussing is modeling. Okay, so this is a method that you can use if you want. And this is the problem that we're going to work with as I show you the modeling method. The whole number 5 divided by 5 over 8. So we are going to draw out this big block. Okay, and in this chart, I'm going to break it up into 5 parts to represent my whole number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And I'm going to draw a little squiggly up here that says that represents my whole number 5. Then inside each 5, I have 8 little boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 8 little sections in each block. So I've broken up each one of those 5 sections into 8 smaller sections. So therefore, each unit is divided into 8ths. So if we're seeing how many sections represent 5/8, we would say 8 little sections inside our one block of 5. So this is an example of how you can model this method. If you're interested in referencing this in your textbook, you can reference page 87. It has a chart very similar to this. And you can go ahead and review the modeling method in detail. Most students prefer the algorithm method that we went over first. You can do whichever method works for your brain. All right, thanks for watching. This was Module 4, Lesson 2.